And we begin with this Fox News alert. We have new information on the manhunt for an assassin on the run in Utah. And you see on the left of your screen, Christian, young conservative leader, husband, dad, friend, Charlie Kirk, assassinated. And now the new details are firming up to catch that killer and bring him to justice. We're getting a clearer picture of just how someone could escape that crowded scene on that college campus and simply vanish. Well, almost. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. New video shows an individual on the rooftop at Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was speaking and then assassinated. State officials with more details on the man on the roof.
The subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox delivered an emotional message to the entire nation in the wake of the tragic assassination.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation.
CB Cotton is in Orem, Utah. CB.
Hi, Harris. Well, right now, FBI agents say they have images and video of the suspect. They're not sharing any of this material with the public at this time, but instead, they're suggesting they're using all of this content to closely track the suspect.
The suspect blended in well with a college institution. We're not releasing any details right now. I mean, we will soon, but right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual.
Agents say the shooter got on campus less than an hour before assassinating 31-year-old Charlie Kirk, who was visiting Utah Valley University in Orem, about an hour away from Salt Lake City. The FBI says the gunman used the building's stairwells to get up on the roof and fired that fatal shot from about 200 yards away, sending the crowd of about 3,000 people into sheer panic. The FBI special agent in charge of the Bureau's Salt Lake City office said at the news conference today that agents recovered a high-powered bolt-action rifle in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory will analyze this weapon. A young fan telling us he is still in disbelief by what he saw yesterday.
It sounded like a 4th of July popper that you can throw on the ground. I heard and everybody just started ducking. I look over at Charlie and he put his hands up like this and falls back in his chair and people catch him.
Harris, the sense I'm getting here on the ground is that investigators know a lot about who this suspect is. It's at this point a matter of figuring out where he is. Back over to you.
CB, thank you very much. Darren Porcher, former NYPD lieutenant and U.S. Army veteran, is with me now. You and I have done police specials and whatnot together, and we are very forensic. And when we take a look at something like this, I look forward to doing that with you now. So what are the forensics of what we've learned so far, and what do they tell you?
Well, there's a lot that we have to unpack. One of the first things is police were able to identify the entrance and the exit of the shooting. This is paramount because they've now captured facial images as to who the shooter may be. And when we go back to the Boston Marathon bombing, that's when we saw crowdsourcing information that was used as it relates to facial recognition. It's manifested 10 times since then, but this is paramount as it relates to how police are going to be able to identify who the shooter is. In addition to that, we're going to look for DNA evidence because the shooter laid down on that roof, and it's impossible for you to enter or exit a location without leaving a trace of DNA. It can be skin fragments, hair samples, etc. So right now, law enforcement has a lot, and you have the triangulation between federal law enforcement, state law enforcement, local law enforcement, and they're going to work in tandem in sharing this information to ensure that we bring this violent assailant into custody.
Well, law enforcement was doing what they do so well. They were looking for people known to them. That the first older gentleman I know from talking with people like Jason Chaffetz and others in Utah who have said, you know, well, he shows up to political rallies. The guy's kind of a loudmouth, blah, blah, blah. He was already on their radar, hasn't done any harm. But that was the first person we saw picked up, that older gentleman. And so they were actively looking for perhaps people that might fit something that they were after. I don't know if it was movement, it was familiarity, I don't know. But this guy, what do you make of him and what you're learning about him?
I go back to the Charles Whitman shooting back in the 60s on the University of Texas campus, whereas he shot people from upwards of 200 yards away. And he used a bolt-action rifle, which is the same type of weapon that was recovered in this particular instance. This is someone that clearly had an understanding of how to shoot people at these distances. And bear in mind, Charles Whitman did not use a scope. He didn't use a tripod. He didn't use a bipod. This was merely the focus of using a bolt-action rifle. I was an officer in the Army, and this is something that I can do. But at the same token, it requires a level of training. So this is something that we're going to look to the background of this individual to find out what in fact his training was to accomplish such a outrageous feat in shooting one of our American heroes, that being Charlie Kirk.
What I always think is amazing about how you and others do their jobs in terms of unpacking a moment like this at the scene is navigating all the fear and the realities on the ground of people caught in the middle between a killer and what you're trying to find, that killer. Here are some of the witnesses who were there yesterday.
It's really traumatizing, definitely something that I've never witnessed before. I think a lot of the college students were there, even some teenagers and some kids with families.
There were people just rushing. I was doing all I could to help them out, get them out, and yeah, just bodies everywhere.
You know, it's something where you feel like you're safe on campus, and then it changed really quickly.
Right away, you know, people started lay on the ground. Everyone started praying. That was one thing that we all just instinctively did.
Amen to that. You said it would have been just so chaotic.
Chaotic is an understatement. And we go back to the assassination, the failed assassination attempt against President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. It is a major challenge to secure an outside venue for a prior president, because just take in mind, Trump had Secret Service protection and an assailant was able to fire a shot at him. So although Charlie Kirk had security, that outside venue is very difficult to maintain a fortification. And remember, it wasn't really a high threat, but this was a welcoming environment. He's at a university in Utah, which welcomes his views. And the one thing about Charlie Kirk was this: he always encouraged discourse, but he discouraged violence. He felt that if we continue our discourse, we won't have violence. And sadly enough, we had someone that didn't adhere to that principle.
Real quickly, lay the day out for us if you can. Next steps. You've got images, so on and so forth. Just real quick, what you see coming.
I think law enforcement already has a subject, and they're actually focused on getting that person. When we look at doorbell ring cameras, DNA that will be extracted from the weapon, I just think it's a matter of time. And they're not releasing this information to the public because they don't want to scare the suspect, and I believe that they have a location in mind to address.
Darren Porcher, thank you always for your